So last class we had just got an introduction to the 6th chapter, which is titled Dhyana Yoga. So it is going to be about Dhyanam or meditation. Now we had seen what is going to come in a brief manner in the last class. So Krishna is basically going to cover 5 topics. The first one is general preparation for Dhyanam. So you should have some general preparation before you actually prepare for actual Dhyanam. So first he is going to talk about that. Then what is required when you actually do Dhyanam. Then what is the process of meditation, Dhyanam. The fourth one is what is the benefits of Dhyanam. And fifth topic is going to be what are the obstacles that come in the path of meditation and how to manage them. So these are going to be the topics which are going to unfold in this chapter as we go. So without delay, let us start the first verse. So chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. Shri Bhagavad Uvacha Anashrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sa Sannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Niragnir Chakriyaha. So here Krishna starts with the first topic, which is about general preparation. He is going to talk about what is generally required for meditation. So what kind of a mind you should have, because meditation is not something you can do without preparation. If you really want to meditate, the mind has to be ready. Like we always say, if you want to sow something, the ground has to be ready. Otherwise, whatever you sow will not grow the way you want it to. So similarly, if you want to sow the right kind of thoughts into your mind, the mind should be ready. So Krishna says, as we know, again it is going to be more about Karma Yoga. So the attitude of a Karma Yogi is the primary thing. So as you know, we have 4 Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. So these are the 4 Purusharthas that are prescribed in our Shastra. So each one has its own benefits, but the primary goal for everybody is always moksha. All the other goals are actually secondary, but unfortunately we get bogged down by making Artha and Kama our primary goals. So a Karma Yogi is one whose primary goal is moksha, who is always focused on the primary goal. It is not that the other goals are not necessary. They are needed, they have their own role. So Artha and Kama are also required. It is not that you jump straight to moksha. So Artha and Kama will continue, but they are not the primary goal. So Karma Yogi is one who sets his primary goal as moksha and works towards that. So all his karmas, whatever he does, is based on the fact that they are not only beneficial to him but also to the society. So any karma which is only beneficial to the self is purely selfish. That kind of a person can never think of attaining self-knowledge or moksha. So first, all the karmas that a karma yogi does are oriented towards the betterment of others. In the process, he also benefits. So this is the primary goal. So karma yogi mind. So here Krishna says karma yogi is a sannyasi. Now how does that? Because generally we talk about a grahastha as a karma yogi. So how can a grahastha become a sannyasi without renouncing everything, without wearing the ochre robes? Can one become a sannyasi? What he has renounced is, he has renounced the concern for material benefit. So as a karma yogi is not worried about the future. He is fully in the present. He does all actions with God in mind, because he surrenders the results of his karma to God. So always his focus is on God, because whatever results come out of his actions, he surrenders to God. So he is not worried about what will happen to me if I do this, in old age will I have enough money to take care of myself, will my children take care of me, will they, after my death, will they do all the rituals connected. So these are the general worries of all the grahasthas. The same grahastha, when he becomes a karma yogi, he has surrendered all the benefits. So he just carries on doing his duties. There is no anxiety, no worry in him. Because you worry only when you think what will happen if I don't get this. You do something, and then if it doesn't happen that way, if it fails, then your worry increases. So, but as far as inner growth is concerned, it doesn't matter, because when you surrender everything God, you know that He will take care of you. So whatever is best for you, He will decide. So the decision is completely left to God. You just accept whatever God gives you. So there is no need to worry at all. So that is the attitude of a karma yogi. So he doesn't do meditation specifically. He may not do meditation specifically, but without actually doing meditation, going through the process of meditation, he is meditating. Because what is meditation? It is the ability to focus on one set of thoughts for a length of time. So we meditate upon something. So we always take a subject to meditate upon, and we focus, our thoughts are focused on that subject, and we keep other thoughts away. So here a karma yogi, his focus is only on doing his karma with God in mind. So his focus is completely on God. So when he is focusing only on God, he is sort of meditating upon God. So when all your actions are oriented towards that, you are indirectly meditating. So without actually sitting in meditation, preparing for meditation, closing your eyes, and he is actually doing meditation. So this is the benefit of a karma yogi. He doesn't have to really do any kind of external meditation, because he is already focusing on his all his actions are based on karma yoga attitude. So he surrenders everything to God, all the benefits of the action. So his focus is only on God. So here again Krishna is comparing such a grahastha to a sannyasi who has renounced everything, who is wearing ochre robes. He sits for meditation with all the things that are required, sits in the right posture, keeps his eyes closed, but his mind may be wandering. So he may be thinking, where can I set up my ashram? How many disciples will come? Maybe I'll get some chances to go abroad and get more people to become my disciples. So this could be the thoughts of a sannyasi who externally looks like a sannyasi, because he has renounced everything. He doesn't have any family to support. He doesn't have any work. He doesn't have any other duties to do except completely focus on spiritual growth. But having taken sannyasa, it happens to many sannyasis, because sometimes they take sannyasa in a hurry, maybe due to some other problems, and then they realize they are stuck in that role because their mind is not ready. So unless the mind is ready, there is no point in meditating. So this is what, so Krishna says grahastha is a sannyasi if he is doing karma yoga, and a sannyasi may not be a sannyasi even though externally he looks like a sannyasi. So this is the, so here again Krishna is glorifying a grahastha. So if you look at it, actually Bhagavad Gita is meant for grahasthas, because Krishna was a grahastha. In fact, they say he had some 18,000 wives. So you can imagine how big a grahastha he was. So, so Krishna was a grahastha. Arjuna was again a grahastha who also married different ladies at different locations. Wherever he traveled, he married some lady there. So he was also a very pakka grahastha. So the one who wrote Bhagavad Gita also, or Mahabharata also, Vyasacharya was also a grahastha. So basically, if you see, Bhagavad Gita is meant for grahasthas only. Because if you have taken sannyas out of real requirement, then you may not need many of the things that are discussed in. So basically, Bhagavad Gita is meant for grahasthas. So one need not, again emphasizing what Krishna says, you need not take up sannyasa. Just do all your duties based on karma yoga attitude. Give up all the worry for future and carry on with your duties. So if you do this, you are already a sannyasi. So this is the first verse which talks about grahastha and a sannyasi. And basic preparation for meditation. So ultimately the main topic is going to be meditation. So first requirement is you should be a karma yogi, because karma yoga prepares your mind for meditation. So this is what is discussed in the first verse. Now we'll move on to the second verse. Yam sanyasamiti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya samyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kanchana. So here again Krishna is justifying what he had said in the first verse. Because again people may have some doubts about whether sannyasa is better or grahastha ashrama is better, and he has already talked about this in previous chapters also. So karma yogi is a better prepared person than a sannyasi without having done karma yoga. If somebody goes to straight away, so internal renunciation is more important than external renunciation. So this is what is very, very important to know, because how much ever externally we prepare, unless the mind is ready, it is not going to be of any help. Because one who is always worried about the future cannot inquire into the self, because self-knowledge and worries may not go together. So the more we worry about the future, the less our mind is prepared for, because a worried mind always thinking about the future, what will happen, will this happen this way, will that happen that way. If the mind is always worried about that, it is not ready for self-knowledge, because that knowledge will not stay in the mind. Because the moment we are even in sitting in the class, sometimes we are worried about, oh, is it going to rain now, or what will happen outside, it is so hot. So many things are going on in our mind that even when we are listening to Bhagavad Gita, still our mind may be wandering, which is natural. So that is the whole process, is to prepare the mind, and that is what Krishna is talking about. So we always give an example of King Janaka. So once when he was in his darbar, suddenly somebody came and whispered something to him. So then they asked what happened. So they said the palace is burning. So he said, so what? So that is the kind of attitude we need to have. Okay, that is burning, let it burn. How does it affect me? So from what to so what? So this is the transition. So some disturbing news comes, definitely anybody will be disturbed. Like something happens, some accident happens, or some unusual tragedy happens. So the first reaction, especially to any near and dear ones, so the first reaction will be, what? That is natural. But once you do your karma yoga, once you do all your actions with karma yoga attitude, slowly that initial reaction, of course, may happen, but very shortly you just understand that and say, so what? What is to happen has happened. So what? So that is the kind of maturity the mind requires for self-knowledge. So that is what Krishna is emphasizing. So at the same time, there is a difference between worrying and planning. Worrying about the future is one thing, planning for the future is another thing. We need to plan. Definitely, we need to plan what we need to do in the future so that we can go about our activities based on that plan. But we should not worry about the future. If the plan doesn't work, okay, I planned this way, it didn't happen that way, I am okay. So, planning you do with a calm mind, you have a very clear vision what you want to be, what you need to do in the next coming years. All that is fine, there's nothing wrong. But after planning, if you start thinking, okay, I planned this way, but suppose it doesn't happen that way, what will happen to me? What will happen to my family? So all these things come up and they become more predominant in your mind, which again disturbs the mind and you are not able to focus on what you need to do in the right attitude. So again, Krishna is emphasizing a grahastha who does karma yoga is more ready for the next stage rather than a renunciate who externally has renounced everything but internally he is not ready. So again and again the focus is on grahasthas rather than sannyasis, because sannyasa is not an easy thing to take. Again, we have already discussed about it. It needs a lot of preparation, and once you take it, it's a one-way traffic. As per, if you go by the traditional things, then once you take sannyasa, you're not supposed to reverse it. So that is why there is no compulsion on anybody to take up sannyasa, because grihastha ashrama gives you much more opportunities. It is definitely more difficult to find time to do your activities as well as spend time for studies, but it gives you more opportunities to do karma yoga, because a sannyasi who has done karma yoga maybe in his previous life, because some sannyasis take up sannyas even in their very early age, so they had probably done a lot of karma yoga in their previous life. So it's a continuation. It is not that karma yoga in this life only is required. But if you have not had any kind of this thing, automatically in this life you have to start with karma yoga. So karma yoga is the key to a prepared mind, and a prepared mind is the key for meditation. So there is no other option. So if you want to meditate, first prepare your mind, do karma yoga, or do your actions with karma yoga attitude rather than doing karma yoga, because there is nothing called doing karma yoga. It is only doing everything with an attitude of karma yoga. So the more you are able to do that, the more you will be able to purify the mind. So now let us go to the third verse. Aruruksho munir yogam karmam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanamuchyate. So here, now somebody is doing karma yoga. How long should one do karma yoga? Could be one question. Is there a particular length of time that one should do karma yoga? Or is karma yoga going to give you something or going to lead you to moksha directly? So this could be the question. Now karma yoga, we should know that by itself it is not going to give moksha. A lot of people who say that karma yoga will lead you to moksha. Maybe it will give you a lot of punyam, which will give you better afterlife, maybe take you to Swarga or give a better janma in the next life. So all these things are possible, but karma yoga is definitely not going to give you jnanam. So karma yoga should be followed as a preparatory for jnana. Once you feel, and it is not that at a particular point you say, okay, now this is enough, now I will move to jnana yoga. That is also not easy to draw a line at what point So you can do simultaneously. So you keep doing your actions with karma yoga attitude and gain knowledge by study, like again through a competent guru for a length of time. So those things are all applicable. So it is a combination of these two which is going to lead to moksha. So karma yoga alone is not going to give moksha, so we should be very clear. But without karma yoga you cannot go to jnana yoga. For example, now Krishna could have started with meditation in the first chapter itself. Why did he wait to complete 5 chapters and then introduce Dhyanam in the 6th chapter? Because unless you prepare the mind, Dhyanam is of no use. So even in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the Ashtanga Yoga, the 7th anga is meditation, Dhyanam, out of the 8. So all the others are preparatory for Dhyanam. You start with Yama, Niyama, which are the 2 things, 2 do's and don'ts, and that is probably the Karma Yoga part. So all the do's and don'ts, you have to do the do's and you should not do the don'ts. So this is what is given in Yoga Sutras also. So in Ashtanga Yoga, you follow the same Karma Yoga and you prepare your body and mind through various practices, asanas, pranayama. Then you learn to withdraw yourself inward, because a complete extrovert can never be able to meditate. So you have to slowly withdraw from the external world to internal world. So that process is going to take time. So the basic thing is one has to set moksha as their primary goal, which is the goal for everybody. But unfortunately, we all are so much into artha and kama, and we treat them as primary goals that we don't remember that the primary goal is moksha for everybody, whichever part of the world you live in, because everybody is seeking only freedom from everything. So basically you are seeking something which is your true nature, because you are never bound. We hold on to something and say we are bound. That is not, you are holding on to something that is not holding you. So we need to first understand that the primary goal is only moksha, and to attain that primary goal you need to prepare your mind through Karma Yoga. Once you prepare your mind, you slowly move on. So that is why we had this Vanaprastha. So you, as from Grihastha, you take up the responsibilities, complete all your responsibilities, slowly hand over the duties to the next generation and move away to the extent possible from day-to-day things. So you start initially with more time for rituals and other things, a little bit time for Jnana Yoga. Slowly, as you become more and more entrenched in Karma Yoga, start moving towards Jnana Yoga. So over a period of time, the time you spend for Jnana Yoga should gradually increase. So ultimately you do just enough things. If you are still in a Grihastha ashrama, you need to do some basic things. So you do only those which are absolutely necessary. The rest of the things can be delegated to the next generation and you spend more time. And from Vanaprastha, if one moves to Sannyasa ashrama, then you give up all the Agni Karyam. That is what here he says. You give up everything. And once your mind is prepared, Sannyasa will help you to have more time for complete study and thereby you gain moksha. So this is the process. So if somebody tries to take shortcuts, it is not going to help. You cannot jump into sannyasa without going through because only in a grihastha ashrama your mind will be polished. You come across situations, you come across so many things, you need to handle them, you learn to handle them without any problems slowly. That is what polishing our likes and dislikes means. So once you do that, your mind is ready for the next stage. Slowly you move on to the next stage by getting more and more into self-enquiry, and that is where again meditation, which is in Vedantic meditation, it is called Nitidhyasana. Initial meditation we can do for preparing the mind, but Vedantic meditation, which Krishna is going to talk about more, it is called Nitidhyasana, where having received the knowledge, you remove all the obstacles that are holding you from being with yourself completely. So we have a lot of things which are there in the mind. Though we have spent enough time gaining knowledge, that knowledge, unless the mind is completely free, will not fructify. So in Vedantic meditation, we clear all the obstacles in the mind so that the knowledge takes effect and you gain moksha. So this is in these three verses Krishna talks about the general preparation. As we go by, he is going to go deeper into the topic of actual meditation, which will come in the following verses, which we will see in the coming classes.